Hey, welcome back to Joe on Joe. It's me, your host, Joe Slupski, and this is the only G.I. Joe show where we watch every episode of G.I. Joe Real American Hero in or sequential order and comment on it, Mystery Science Theater style. Well, this week, I'm very pleased to have with me, sitting across from the Joe on Joe table, a guest who's a friend of mine from out here in California. He's an entrepreneur. He's one of the most driven individuals that I've personally met since I'm in my short time out here in California. He's always got his hand in something new. He is an executive producer of the upcoming film Code 8. That's with Stephen and Robbie Amell. You know them from the Arrow and DC universe. He's a publisher for OSSM Comics. That's OSSM Comics. Perhaps you've seen their stuff. An image from a little book called Sons of the Devil. Maybe Foster you saw. But specifically his own book, Xenoglyphs, was out there for a few years and is amazing. I'm talking about the one, the only, Mr. Omar Spahi. Omar, welcome to Joe on Joe.
Ooh, thank you for having me, man.
I like that. It's like a bird call. Welcome to the show, my friend.
I love it, man. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here, excited to be on this and hanging out with you. That's the most fun part.
I agree. It's good because we've been, again, another person we've been circling forever.
Yep.
And it's really good to sit in front of you. So I meant exactly what I said, man. You've got your hands in a ton of really cool stuff.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I try to do everything I can, and I swear I feel like I'm not doing enough, so I just keep pushing.
Well, you're not doing enough.
I'm trying.
You're
I'm
not.
trying.
And that's why I'm taking up some of your time with the podcast.
I love it. This is fun. This is a blast for me.
So cool. So you let's talk about your role as publisher for OSSM Comics. Like you're a publisher for a comic book company.
Yeah. One day I woke up and I was sitting at a burger joint and I was talking to this guy and he was like, people make comics, and it never occurred to me.
How old would you have been around this time?
I was probably 17, 18 years old.
Okay.
And I was like, it never hit me, and then all of a sudden I was like, I want to make comic books. And so then I just I started writing. I started plotting with friends and being like, hey, what if these characters do this? How do we make these characters matter? How do we make the emotion for these characters go? And and we started dissecting stories, and from there we made our first book. Which was Xenoglyphs.
Yep.
And then we kept pushing it, and then we found an amazing artist in PJ. And then from there
who's that? PJ
Katakutin. He's awesome. He's been my right-hand man for this whole process. Like, the book looks amazing.
The book does look amazing. Yeah, I'm a fan. I've read Xenoglyphs. I've read your work. One of the books you guys published, Thaniel and Monomyth.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
And Sons of the Devil is awesome. You do that with Brian Buccellato.
Yeah.
You guys also published Foster.
Yeah.
And currently you've got Hadrian's Wall going on with Kyle Higgins.
Yeah, it just wrapped up, I think, last month.
Sweet.
So it's issue 8 is out, and the trade is going to be out now. So yeah.
So let's talk a little about Xenoglyphs. What's the premise of that story? What was that?
So that's about these 9 different elemental stones, and each stone has its own different power, like earth, wind, water, light, darkness, like kind of Captain Planet kind of things, talking about G.I. Joe, Captain Planet, like those 90s TV shows. But we really wanted to make it a little bit more grounded than Captain Planet. Like, Captain Planet was more like save the environment, it was very green. This is more about the action-adventure side of it.
Yeah.
And so the cool thing about this is it takes you around the world. You get to see all these monuments, you get to see all these different cultures, and you get to experience them. And so these two best friends, Stephen and Dom, go around the world making sure these stones stay separated and they don't fall into the wrong hands because the evil Anubis is out to get them.
Well, so you use the word separated because you also did the follow-up series was called Separators.
That's right, yeah.
And if I remember from when I read it, Separators was what, like, a group of people, they called themselves the Separators, right? Because their job was to keep the stones separate.
That's it, yeah. So Stephen's a separator, Dom isn't. Like, Stephen was born into a separator family, and then through the story of Xenoglyphs, you kind of meet a few new separators, and then the story kind of becomes about them as like a group. So it kind of goes from being about the stones to being about the people. And I think that's one of the most important things.
That's great. Yeah, and the art does look amazing.
Thank you.
It's really good. I think I would say the most difficult thing when it comes to doing an independent comic book is getting the art. It's hard to describe on a podcast, but there's a look to, and I've you know me in my comics.
Yeah.
I've read them all.
I know you have.
I've been around.
I've seen your list. Your list is freaking impressive. Man.
Yeah. Well, you need to come to the house and see my actual collection. That'll knock you on your socks. There's a look to independent comics, and then there's a look to your more mainstream stuff.
Yeah.
And I find that I would say I've seen most all your books. I'd say probably a good 90% of them sit on the right side of that line.
Yeah.
They really do. They're okay. This is not just some dudes who can draw in their high school notebook. Like this is they're polished in their
in their craft.
In their craft, yeah. And it's again, it's hard to describe on a podcast. It's like we talk about this a lot at the show or at the store. And I could grab one off the rack and go, look at this line. Look how this line, like,
of course.
Look how the thinness of this. And then you look at the thickness and the lushness of a more polished look.
Yeah.
And you guys definitely fall on the lush side.
Thank you. We try to do everything we do with quality. You know, I think that's one thing I've always tried to pride myself on and do. If it's worth doing, I'm going to try to do it the best I can. And I'm not going to nail it every single time, but you know what? We're going to get as close as we can.
Oh, listen, there have been stinkers on. There have been stinker episodes of Joe on Joe. Trust me. You hear my voice go like, oh, hey, everybody, welcome to Joe. And I listen back. I'm like, whoa, what kind of Valium was I on that day? But, yeah. And you're so right, though. And I think that's as a friend and someone just looking in and watching you from afar, watching you succeed and progress, you just keep doing it.
Thank you.
You keep plugging away. You do something new. You do something, you know.
I'm having fun with it, living life. You know, we only have one life to live and moving forward.
We totally do. And let's talk about the next thing you're doing is you're an executive producer on the movie Code 8.
Yeah.
And I know you guys just wrapped. You were there in July or this summer?
I was there this summer. We wrapped. It was a 35-day shoot. It was a 34-day shoot, but it was an absolute blast.
But it felt like 35. That's the important part.
No, the coolest thing about it to me was, everyone involved in it wanted to be there, and it felt like a family. So it was just cool to like get their experience, everyone there like being together, working towards a common goal, and everyone like, kind of just having love for each other. You know, like you show up every day, you get hugs from everyone, high fives, and it's like always smiles and happy faces to see you. You know,
and that's I do know, and that's an amazing that sense of family and feeling is what I think that's what draws people to the creative arts, because you're all rowing in the same direction, and that's when it's good.
Exactly.
That's the place you want to be. So you executive produce that with Stephen Amell, who is TV's Arrow, and his cousin, who is TV's Firestorm, was the original Firestorm.
Yep.
Like, are they stars in the movie, or are they just producers on the movie?
No, they're stars.
They're the stars.
They're 1 and 2. So Robbie's the lead, and Robbie's done an amazing job with. He killed it. Like there's. The playbacks, you just see it and you're like, wow, him and Steven both did a great job. And
what's the premise of it?
So it's kind of like I don't know if you've seen the short film we did. I wasn't a part of the short, but I got involved after that.
If you weren't involved, that's why I didn't want to watch it. I was like, I don't need to see anything that Omar didn't have his hands on.
But no, the short was about this world where 4% of people have superpowers.
Okay.
And so it's a dark, gritty, all those terms that are commonly thrown around in Hollywood. Look at that. And so they did an amazing job of keeping these characters very human and grounded in the short. And I think we just kind of expanded on that in the feature. Okay, cool. What's the schedule for release, or what's the plan for release? We're still in post right now. So we haven't, we're about a year out, a little bit over a year out. I'm really, really, really excited for it. And I could not be more proud of just everything I've seen. That's great. Can't wait to see it. I can't wait to learn more about it, and I look forward to seeing it in the trades, as they like to say. I don't subscribe to the trades, but maybe I will just for that. But I mean, hopefully it'll be in trade paperback too, because we're publishing the comic book as well. So that's exciting. Yeah. Now you did Sons of the Devil. You were aligned with Image for that. Yeah. Would that be also an Image kind of release, or would that be Awesome only, or are we so far away from that? We are still very far away from that to figure it out. Cool. Do you hear that, Image? Because I know a lot of Image people are listening today. Yeah. Sign them up. Yeah, we need more Image people. I love Image. Image has become my favorite publisher. They're doing such good stuff. It's amazing. And it's funny because we'll get people into the comic shop that hadn't read comics in years, and they think about Image, and they're like, oh, I love that, the big guns and and it's not my taste, but to each his own. They're like the big guns and the super, and I'm just like, no, it's not that. No, it's not that. And they're doing such better stuff. Like it's such good things coming out of Image over the last few years, and it's so not the pouches and the tiny waists and the guns. And that stuff it's very 90s. It's very early 2000s, and it's kind of found its way out the door. So what is your history with comic books? Were you reading them when you were a kid, or did you find them as a teenager, or what was it? No, I was I grew up reading like Simpsons comics and Garfield, blah blah blah. But what really got me into comic books was The Flash. So I was in a Barnes and Nobles or a bookstore at the time, and what are those? Yeah, I know, right? Those they don't exist anymore. Yeah, I know, right? They're getting rid of some here in LA now, and I'm like, no, we can't get rid of this. Is the heart and soul of. I'm so sad at the demise of bookstores. You don't even want to know. Amazon, man. Amazon's out
I have
there.
a chair in my home right now that is a Borders bookstore chair.
Yeah.
Because when they went out of business, I like that chair so much.
You're like,
I bought it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Everything's on sale here? Yeah.
Yeah. I will buy this chair. It's got a little hobo in it though.
Oh no!
A lot of hobos sat in that chair. I cleaned it a lot. I've had it for a few. I've cleaned it a lot.
Oh man, you can't have too many hobos in the chair.
Too many hobos is the name of my autobiography. And that chair
too many
really.
hobos in that chair is the name of your
too many hobos in that chair. Yeah. So you were reading Simpsons comics and stuff as a kid, and then you moved to Flash. So what was it, Wally, or what was?
Yeah, I got into it through Wally. So I was there, and I saw the cover, and it was this amazing art. It was Jeff John's run.
Yeah.
I picked it up, and I went to my mom.
So the cover probably was Brian Boland?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
It's great art.
So good.
Such. That's why it just drew me to it, the art. And then, I picked up the book, and I was probably, 9, 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I was immediately just like, oh, my God, like, I want to get the next one.
Yeah. And also, those interiors, for most of Jeff John's run, was Scott Collins.
Yeah,
Scott crushed it.
He blows my mind.
That was like the best stuff I've ever seen him do.
Yeah,
He's done some good stuff since.
Oh yeah.
But there was a combination of loose and tight to his work at that time.
So good.
That was just phenomenal.
I think the first issues I picked up were right before his run started, and then I got into his run, and I literally just could not put it down. It was every single month. I was going to the, as a 10-year-old, a month is a different time than a month is a year.
Because it's a larger percentage of your life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I'm there, and I'm going there every week. Like, hey, do they have the new issue? Do they have the issue? When I get it, as soon as I get it the day it comes out. Like,
yeah.
And then I'm like, how do I get the next one? I can't wait a month anymore. So I'd go to Toys R Us, and I would buy these value packs with all these comics in them.
Yes.
I would go and try to find the Flash issues I was missing, and like obviously there were 180 of them I was missing. So I would go and I would pick up like all these value packs for like $3-4.
And where are you now? What city are you growing up?
I was in Santa Monica.
Santa Monica.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Great.
So I'd go to the Toys R Us, try to get the value packs, and then all of a sudden, I found out there were these things called comic book stores. Blew my freaking mind. You don't even know. I was literally the kid in a candy store. It was kid in a comic book store for me, because I went through and I was like, oh my God, they have all of these issues of the Flash. Like, I had gone from like getting value packs and like getting one Flash issue per value pack to like try to get this done, and now all of a sudden it's like I was getting the stuff I wanted to get, and I was getting it right away, and like could not have been happier, and that's what kind of fueled my addiction into comics.
That's so great. And during that era, if memory serves, that would have been right around the time that G.I. Joe came back into comic books. To bring it back to the subject of our show,
yeah. Did
you ever read any of the G.I. Joe stuff? I'm talking about like from Devil's Due, like late '90s, early 2000s.
I feel like if I read more G.I. Joe stuff, it would have been more recent stuff. But I've probably only picked up an issue or two.
Yeah.
From Aubrey's run, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's in the last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how familiar are you with G.I. Joe as a whole?
I know.
And be honest.
Yeah.
We're not going to kick you off the show if you say nothing.
Well, pretty much nothing. Like, let me break it down like this. I can give you everything I know about G.I. Joe, so you know where I stand.
Okay.
I know Cobra's the bad guy.
Yes.
All right. I know there's Snake Eyes.
Snake Eyes.
And
guy.
Good guy, but he has an evil brother.
No.
Damn it! Who's the one with
Storm Shadow's his friend? They're not technically brothers.
Shadow.
But he's the bad ninja. Yeah.
He's the bad ninja. Storm Shadow.
Yeah.
Okay. So I thought they were brothers. They're not brothers.
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, shows how much I know.
Well, did you see the movie?
Yeah.
Okay, so in the movie, they are a little adopted-y kind of brothers.
Okay.
Like they find them they tweaked it in the movie to where like they meet as children.
Okay.
And he like adopts it.
Okay.
But that's not canon. That's not.
Okay.
It's never been. They're friends who met as soldiers.
Okay. Also worth noting, seen the movie. I really liked the first movie. I am the only person probably on the entire planet who like really liked the first movie.
I like the first movie.
I thought that,
I think there's a lot to like in the first movie. Yeah.
And I just I found it like, especially not being a huge G.I. Joe fan, like I walked out of that theater with like my jaw like on the ground, like that was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like they did a great job with that story and everything. Like I remember seeing that movie with my dad, and my dad was like, "Do you like G.I. Joe? Like what?" Like, and I was like, "Yeah, that was awesome. Like I need to get into this more." And so it's cool that we're doing this today.
Well, I'm excited. So Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow, and Cobra.
That's about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that you know what that means? That means I'm bringing delight to your doorstep right now. Is what that
I'm ready.
means.
I got a giant smile on my face already, and the episode
Omar,
hasn't
I'm
even
really
started
excited.
rolling.
So listen, everybody, I need you to go to awesomecomics.com. That is spelled OSSM comics.com and check out everything that Omar and his publishing company puts out. Xenoglyphs, Monomyths, Sons of the Devil, Hadrian's Wall. That's Hadrian's Wall is currently at your comic shop. You also get I know Sons of the Devil's in trade from Image.
Yeah, Sons of the Devil's in 3
is
trades
Foster
now.
still in print?
Foster's still in print as
Foster's
well.
really great.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, and
We're
you did that with
super
Brian
proud of that.
Buccellato.
Yeah, Brian.
He's a super nice dude out
yeah.
here and really talented guy.
Yeah.
He can because he started out as a colorist.
He did. Yeah, he
And
was
then-
a colorist for years, and then he got into writing on the Flash, and everything since then has been there. He's been on every did the Injustice book right after Tom. And,
Right. Yes,
and,
he did.
He was Detective. Him and Francis both did that, and he's had an amazing.
Yeah, he's a real talent.
He's a real talent.
And a real
He's a
nice
great
guy.
guy, yeah.
So check those books out. And Hadrian's Wall with Kyle Higgins is really great as well.
Yeah.
And on Twitter, you can find him at Xenoglyphs. That is XENO Glyphs, GLYPHS. And you can find him on Instagram at O Spahi, SPAHI.
I'm gonna find myself on there.
You can find me on there while you're on there. You find me.
I'm pretty sure I have you.
I believe we're following each other.
Yeah.
So on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, you find me at Joe on Joe Pod. And if you're out there and you're a fan of the show, if you want to join me, just like Omar, sitting here watching the show together, or if you're remote, we'll do it over Skype. You can send me a note to joeonjoepod@gmail.com. I love hearing from my fans. So thanks for doing that. And remember, you can always leave me a review on iTunes. Within the new iOS, on the podcast app on your Apple phones, you can leave a review within the app. It's really easy. I was looking at it this morning. I left myself a 5-star review, Omar. It's what I do. I reviewed myself.
High
I
five.
almost gave myself a 4-star.
No, you can't do that.
I did to keep myself humble.
No.
Keep it humble, baby.
No.
Keep it humble.
You were 5 stars, man. I'm telling you.
Thank you so much.
You know that.
Yeah.
You know that.
Well, today we're going to watch an episode called Secondhand Emotions, Omar.
All right.
It is. It's a very personal episode. It's written by Carla and Gerry Conway.
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
No
from
way,
you know them from comics. Yeah,
yeah.
Death with Gwen Stacy, Gerry Conway, right?
It's crazy.
Yeah, they've written a few of these shows, and they're
What?
always good.
I had no idea.
Yeah, they're always good.
Dude,
they're
that's
always
exciting.
well written. It is very much so.
What? I'm excited. I'm even more excited. I was excited, but now I'm like, what? Gerry Conway too?
Little Gerry Conway love in your life. So here we go with Secondhand Emotions.
Yo, Joe!
All right, Omar. So obviously you didn't play with G.I. Joe. You weren't into the G.I. Joe toys much, as we said earlier. But you were 10 years old once. You were into something. What was it? Like, what kind of toys? What kind of stuff were you into?
I was obsessed with action figures. Like, action figures were my jam. Like,
Yeah.
I would be obsessed with every kind of action figure. I loved Power Rangers. I loved the Mortal Kombat figures that I just
You have brought out for us to peruse Mortal Kombat, and they're made by Hasbro, and they're definitely made in the mold of G.I. Joe. I'm pretty sure they weren't considered part of the Joe line because there were Street Fighter ones that were part of the Joe line. It was branded G.I. Joe
That's
Street
so
Fighter.
cool. I have to go find those. So they had like Blanca and Ryu and like all those.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's
totally
so
made
cool.
in the style, but the Mortal Kombat one, I mean, they have the same joints, they have the same swivel arms. I'm looking at them right now. So I mean, they're stamped. Obviously, they're stamped Hasbro.
Yeah, that's
But the same. I mean, they're GI Joe figures. I bet you they're.
I
would bet you that they're.
even if it
like, they
is
use
your
some of the
kid
same parts.
sister's
even.
lifeline.
So, like, who's this guy?
that's Smoke. So,
Smoke?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was like part of the later run of Mortal Kombat. Like, like the other guys are Sub-Zero,
That's Sub-Zero, the guy in blue.
the guy in blue,
The
and
guy in yellow is Scorpion.
the guy in the yellow Scorpion. Nailed it.
Yeah, okay. I got a toe in the video game world. And this is Johnny Cage.
That is Johnny Cage.
Johnny Cage, who, taking a page from G.I. Joe Quick Kick, has no shirt. Johnny Cage and Quick Kick, I feel like it would be fast friends. Also, Johnny Cage, I like this. They gave him, he's obviously got a receding hairline. In 10 years, Johnny Cage is going to be bald.
Poor Johnny Cage.
I'm just saying.
Poor Johnny
Yeah,
Cage.
that's the hairstyle of a man who's losing his hair.
Oh, Johnny.
So this is exciting. The show started, as we said, it's written by Carla and Gerry Conway. And we've got the Joes visiting his sister's wedding.
Okay.
Now, that's Roadblock.
Okay.
He's amazing.
All
And
right.
he was played by The Rock in the second movie.
Okay.
And he's going to go check out the catering truck because he's a chef.
Okay.
Right?
Roadblock's also a chef.
He's an amazing chef.
All right.
He's an amazing chef.
Multi-level characters. I like it.
Yeah, and
Oh no!
Roadblock just got karate chopped by a caterer.
Oh, and they had a mask on, and the guy has another mask under his mask.
It's Zartan.
Zartan. Sounds like Zoltan.
Yeah.
Zartan.
We got Shipwreck.
Okay.
And Lift Ticket.
Okay.
That's Lifeline.
Lifeline.
And Lift Ticket's also there.
Is that his sister?
That is his sister. And
Okay.
what we earlier he explained that he's considered the black sheep of the family because his dad's religious.
Okay.
And he's in the military. And it's our friend Iceberg's also on the show. And he's military. So his dad doesn't cotton to the military.
That's interesting.
The military way of life.
I've never heard of that dynamic before, but it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. It's funny though because you feel if you're a long time
he has a
observer of
gun.
the show.
Wait, what?
Oh, he just shot little think of a tick. Like if you were in the woods and you got bit by a tick. That's what he just shot on the back of the neck of Lift Ticket and Shipwreck and Iceberg.
Oh, the gun is blinking. And he's talking into his watch. This is way ahead of its time.
Oh, this is Apple Watch before Apple Watch knew what Apple Watch was. And that girl, that's Zorana, that is Zartan's sister. Zartan's the master of disguise.
Oh, okay.
And he and his siblings, they all can disguise each other real well.
Okay.
So they were used. G.I. Joe's all about subterfuge. There's a lot of mask ripping off.
Yeah.
One of the biggest tropes of the show is masks coming off. Like Mission Impossible style.
Okay.
So you never know who you're talking to because they'll just rip off these super lifelike masks.
Oh, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you never know who anyone is.
Yeah. So
is that his actual dad?
Yeah, so that's his dad.
But are you sure it's him?
Oh, yeah, we know it. We know
Are you sure, though?
I am sure.
I don't know.
Because I've seen the whole episode.
I'm just expecting it to be. I don't know, man. Anything can happen. It might rip off a mask, surprise you.
Yeah. Meanwhile, back over at the Joe's
those
headquarters.
Those are cool pants. Oh, that is an awesome outfit. Their style points.
Yeah, that's sci-fi.
These are great for action figures.
And here's what I love about this. I agree. Well, one, the Dreadnoks really snuck up on this base really close, like without being noticed. That's awfully.
They did it really close, and then they zapped them all in the back of the neck.
Yeah,
that is.
And it's Hawk, and it's Scarlet, and it's Sci-Fi. They're now chasing the Dreadnoks as they make their getaway. Here's what I love, though. They made it a winter landscape. I don't think there's really much about this episode that requires it to be winter.
Yeah.
But it makes for a more interesting look.
Yeah, of course.
Instead of just regular, standard. Just like all of a sudden, we're in wintertime.
That's cool. I mean, it makes it aesthetically more.
Yeah. So Roadblock
just wakes up.
And he is.
Oh, no, they sprayed him with something.
Knockout gas from Zorana.
Come on, Zorana. He got shot. Oh, come on.
I find it funny that.
He wasn't shot already?
Yeah, he's the first guy that Zartan knocked out, and he didn't choose to shoot.
Oh, dude, this guy's mustache is epic.
That's Dr. Mindbender.
Dr. Mindbender?
He's a orthodontist.
No.
Turned evil.
No.
Yeah, because he was experimenting with...
come on.
He was experimenting
Orthodontists have it hard enough.
He was experimenting with techniques for, painless, tooth surgery. To brain waves to kind of control the pain for doing, and he himself went crazy and turned into this guy, this
Dr. Mindbender,
this Phantom of the Fair playing organ guy. So he's using an organ, kind of like that. Remember that movie? Have you ever seen Phantom of the Fair?
No.
It's a great 70s B movie. Okay. It's terrible. It's terrible. But it's
I like
actually,
how you're like it's
actually,
great.
Well, no, it's directed by Brian De Palma.
Okay.
And it's about a guy who is actually Little Enos Burdett from the Smokey and the Bandit movies. Paul Williams, the amazing songwriter. He plays this Phantom, and he plays on this large organ. Well, in this case, the organ...
Is that Cobra?
That's Cobra Commander.
Cobra Commander. Wait, what's the difference?
Well, he runs Cobra. Cobra's the organization.
Oh, that's Cobra.
That's Serpentor.
Damn.
The organization is Cobra.
Okay.
And it's run by Serpentor.
Serpentor is the man.
Yes, and he's currently putting Cobra Commander in his place because he is now the ruler. He's the emperor of Cobra. So he's above all.
I thought it was Cobra Commander who was the...
He was until he screwed up so many times that they brought in Serpentor.
Oh.
I'm not even gonna talk to you about how they made Serpentor from a vat of DNA.
What?
Yes, we're not even gonna go there. But just so you know, Mindbender's piano organ controls the emotions of the people that they implanted with those little ticks.
So secondhand emotions. I see where you're going.
Exactly. And we know this is written by Carl.
Is that Johnny Cage? Did they make the same mold from that?
No. These are they're in their dress greens. They didn't really make action figures.
But I mean, they didn't make these guys, right? Because I'm just saying the heads would be the same.
No. He wore Lifeline's. His outfit was red and white. It was more of a paramedic's outfit.
I was just thinking that you could take the head.
You could.
But he doesn't have the same receding hairline.
So you could do a custom. Johnny Cage, by the way, has some chest.
Yeah,
His chest looks like it was drawn by Rob Liefeld. It really does.
Oh, that is a great.
It really does.
Great
It
comic
looks like
book
that
joke.
great
Disproportionate
Captain America chest.
Yep.
Thing. So Lifeline flips out at his sister,
Okay.
and the Joes follow him as he runs out of because he's being driven mad.
Yeah.
And they can't. So, are you familiar with the Fantastic Four villain, the Psycho Man? He's green. He's from the Microverse, but it's a Kirby creation. He's got a board that says like love, hate.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah,
yes.
That's what this is. So this is I see this being Gerry Conway pulling from that kind of Psycho Man dynamic where
it's also similar to the Psycho Pirate in a lot of ways.
Also Psycho Pirate. You're absolutely
all the psychos.
right. Yeah.
All the psychos.
Where it's like any emotion in the extreme is dangerous.
Yep.
So even though these guys are laughing and they're having, they're giving them fun emotions, that means they're reckless. They're like they just stole a trolley car, so they're gonna.
I don't know
crash
if he stole it or he just jumped on it.
Well, he stole it.
Oh,
They're
come
driving
on.
it. They've commandeered the trolley.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So right now we're heading towards a crash where this trolley car is going to run into the Joes that are pursuing the Dreadnoks. So this is where we're going to bring our two groups of G.I. Joes together in that kind of the same space.
Story merging,
and of course they
head.
stop their vehicles directly on the train tracks.
Oh no! Classic story trope.
Classic, yeah. And here we are. And look how happy they are.
Yep, they're feeling it.
Look
They're
how
in the
excited
zone.
they are.
Their costumes are awesome.
They're so great, and they can't get off the tracks. So we're going to go into commercial break,
Okay.
and the Joes are about to kill each other.
No! They can't do that.
Today's Filecard feature is on the Cobra H.I.S driver, codenamed The Enemy. The file name is unknown, and the primary military specialty is the H.I.S driver. The secondary military specialty is mechanical and electrical systems. Birthplace, of course, is from various countries. The Cobra H.I.S drivers are selected from the best and most evil of Cobra Command's thousands of yearly recruits. Each is chosen for its physical strength and total dedication to evil. H.I.S drivers are graduates of Cobra Battle School, the Advanced Weapons Systems Training. Qualified experts in the H.I.S vehicle, the Fang Copter, and they have knowledge of all NATO and G.I. Joe weapons. Cobra H.I.S drivers are committed to the destruction of G.I. Joe. This newly developed battle vehicle is a real match for the G.I. Joe team, so beware. Today's card's a real step back into the Wayback Machine. I realized there were just a couple guys from the early cards that I missed, so I want to get them all wrapped up and cleaned up as we head into the movie in a couple weeks. So the Cobra H.I.S driver, I personally never had him. I had a H.I.S. I believe my H.I.S was second generation, but this guy looks cool. He looks like a little bit of a precursor to the Crimson Guardsman, where he's got an all-red body with a blue chest piece with the silver Cobra logo on it. His head is crazy, too. He's got a full face mask. It actually, design-wise, it looks like it belongs to one of the later series when they got a little crazy in sci-fi, because it's kind of conical-shaped. Full silver goggles. I do love, he's got thigh-high black Cobra boots. Come on. So I want to know, has anyone cosplayed as the Cobra H.I.S driver? And I want to see pictures. He was packaged in 1987. He came with 5 other figures in the Special Missions Driver's set, and that was through mail order. So hey, Cobra H.I.S driver, The Enemy, nameless, faceless from various countries, we salute you.
Now back to G.I. Joe.
They most certainly can kill themselves.
No,
they're going to murder each other.
No! Come on,
each other. Death by trolley.
This is a show that was meant for kids. There's no way.
Right?
No way.
We
Don't
think
do it.
So.
Don't.
Turns
No.
out this is the episode they decided to go dark.
Oh no! What are you having me watch? Watch out for the trolley car.
Wait, I'll show you crybabies how to handle this.
Oh,
he calls them
lifting
crybabies.
it. Yeah, that's lifting it. So now he's getting
What did he pull out?
He pulled. It looks like he pulled the emergency brake cord off of it, and he ropes it. He
nice.
ropes it around the.
What a stop!
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that was an Indiana Jones.
that was
kind
an
of move.
He climbed on top of the trolley car and stopped it with a rope.
Yeah, that was pretty.
He didn't even like. He just threw it, just one shot, and nailed it.
I feel like let's say that there was enough friction to actually stop it. Whatever. I feel like the actual stopping would have just been a calamitous. Like thrown it, like it would have jumped the rails.
Oh, of course.
Murdered them.
Yeah.
Like maybe they wouldn't have hit General Hawk and Scarlet.
They probably
but
still would.
They would have flipped.
Yeah, they probably still
and
would.
They would have died a horrible, horrible death.
All of that would happen.
But
I mean, if you're flipping, I feel like you're on your side. You're still not going with the momentum. So
luckily, didn't happen.
Didn't happen.
Stop
Perfectly on the tracks.
Perfect stop.
Nailed it.
Also, Cobra has cameras all over the city, so they can just watch from any
How are they
angle.
watching everything? That's a
watch
little
from
bit.
any angle. So listen,
Is that inappropriate?
Finish the job. You saw how helpless they were.
here's the unspoken
Emotional
thing
paralysis.
about Cobra.
They couldn't move.
They are way more equipped than G.I. Joe.
Perhaps my
Cobras?
brain
Yeah,
was too
they don't like to
subtle.
they always fail because their personal foibles. Their ego gets in the way, or Serpentor is unhappy; it's not going fast enough, so he has Mindbender speed it up, or Cobra Commander teases the Joes, and and he inadvertently gives them a clue or whatever. But like, they have all the good stuff. They have cameras all over the city. They have giant laser beams that destroy cities. They have huge snakes that can take over things. They have everything going for them. It's just that they don't know how to play as a team, and that's what always brings them down.
G.I. Joe's a team, huh?
G.I. Joe's a team. It's 100% it. G.I. Joe does not have better
That's
equipment.
beautiful.
Does not have better equipment than
I
Cobra.
know, Peter. It's really
It
my
is.
brother
It's a
Edwin
beautiful
I'm worried
truth.
about.
That is-
The way
that
he
is-
acted makes no sense.
Stephanie, I came to offer an apology. I feel
There's something on the
awful
show
about
I
what
want to
did
point
at
out.
the
That's
church.
Lifeline. Yeah, there's something on the show I want to point out.
All right.
About Lifeline. But before we do that, I want to tell you one of the things we do on the show is I ask our guests to think about if they could be a member of the G.I. Joe team.
Okay.
You, Omar
Okay.
Spahi, if you were recruited today to be a member of the team, what would your code name be?
Oh,
and
that's
what would
cool.
you do? So
Ooh.
think about it. We'll revisit it in the third act. So
All right.
so start thinking about that. I forgot and neglected to warn you of that earlier.
All right, I'm ready for it.
So yeah,
I'm
so
ready
think
for
about
it.
it. But what I want to talk about with Lifeline, which is a really cool dynamic of this episode, Lifeline is such a tragic character. He gets it from all sides because of his beliefs. So we're learning that his dad disowns him,
Oh wow.
right? Because he joined the military.
Yeah.
So he's had to deal with his personal life, blah, blah, blah.
Cool.
But
lasers.
then in the military, in previous episodes, he's gotten some serious guff from people like Beachhead and Wetsuit and Leatherneck for being a pacifist. So he doesn't carry a gun
Wow.
because he's the medic. So he doesn't have to.
I didn't know
he's
he was a
not-
medic.
Yeah,
That's cool.
so he's not required to carry a gun, but he gets it from all aspects of his life because he might be the most dedicated to his principles, Joe, of all time.
Wow.
Because there's no safe harbor in his life. At
That's-
every turn, both personal and professional, someone is giving him the business for the choices that he's made.
That's so tough. It's not easy to be. I mean, I wonder what makes him like that. Being able to stand up to that. That's
Yeah.
Especially for a kids show, like it's something that's really profound. I think that's being able to stand to your principles, be a pacifist in a world like this, and everyone has guns, everyone's coming after you. It's something that's mind blowing.
Yeah, really. Yeah, it's really some good stuff.
Teaching kids great values. Who's the sailor?
That's Shipper.
Okay. Great name. Great name.
Yeah, Shipwreck's great. We love Shipwreck. And those are a bunch of robots. Those are battle android troopers.
Okay, they look
yeah.
they look cool.
Yeah.
One thing, growing up, I like the Mortal Kombat toys. We talked a little bit about the Street Fighter toys and stuff like that. One thing, I would always go and see my friends with G.I. Joes and stuff, and I would always be blown away at the vehicles. The vehicles were
Yes.
so cool. I was always so envious of the Joe vehicles because no other action figure had as cool vehicles, and there were so many characters for Joe, and I think I just didn't know where to start. I think that was something for me to get into it. Like I was just like, who's Lifeline? Like if I had seen the Lifeline episode and I was like, I need to go get the Lifeline episode because I'm a Lifeline fan because he stands by his principles. Like that would have got me into it, and I would have been like a deep collector of the series. And do you know how many action figures there are?
Off the top of my head, no.
Okay.
But there were a few hundred, like the original run. There were a few hundred or so individuals, but
wow.
they've done over the years. They've reissued and done repaints of things. We're going into commercial break, and maybe we Google it. Maybe
Yeah,
we find
I'm
out.
checking
Google
it
that
out now.
question. Yeah. All right, listeners, this is the time of the show where I'm going to jump in and drop some knowledge on you. During the course of our conversation, we couldn't find a quick number as we were recording, but I just went to the wonderful yojo.com. Shout out to them, and I physically counted every single character for up till 1994, and I hit 532 action figures based off the Yo-Jo archives. Some of that's duplicates, 3 or 4 versions of Snake Eyes, multiple Storm Shadows, things like that. But 532 individual figures were released carded or with vehicles, etc., mail-ins, things like that. That is an incredibly staggering number for G.I. Joe. So now back to the show.
Now back to G.I. Joe.
I think I saw somewhere recently that there have been like 60 some versions of Snake Eyes made.
Wow.
Like for real, 60 versions of
That's
Snake Eyes.
so crazy. Is he the most popular character?
Yeah, he's the coolest.
Okay.
Yeah, by far. But like that's so many figures. So when you talk about that number of like how many actual figures there are to collect, it's got to be near 500-600, something like that. Yeah.
Edwin, what's wrong?
My friends.
So there was originally a G.I. Joe action figure in 1964?
Yeah. So
let's talk about that.
So what G.I. Joe was
$30,000 for an entire collection of
for the
very
rare. Sure, yeah, for like collectible stuff.
What?
Sure. But so what? It was like Barbie. It was like a
Okay.
12-inch or actually I think it was like 8 inches, but it was like Barbie style.
Yeah, I see. I mean, here's just a quick pick.
And he was a soldier, but then in the 70s they made him more of an adventure team, and he had a couple buddies that hung out with him, and they
Roadblock with disc launcher, $2,090. Wow, these G.I. Joes.
mint on card.
Yeah, I mean that's just
No, there were some of them that were super rare because as the product died out in the mid early 90s, the print runs, that's a comic book term, but like the manufacturing runs were really low, and people weren't collecting them, people weren't taking care of them.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I had no idea. My mind is like blown right now.
The G.I. Joe fan base and the G.I. Joe like collecting community is massive, and
Yeah.
they're really I was going to say vehement, but that sounds so angry. They're passionate's the right word. They're really passionate about it, and there's so many good stuff. Like I don't have enough bandwidth in my life to be a figure collector.
Yeah.
I've got a box of most of my figures. I think I've got about probably 40 or 50 of them.
Wow, you do?
Yeah, from when I was a kid.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
Like I still have them.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and I have them, and I've maintained them and changed their O-rings and make sure they
that's awesome.
Yeah, reconstructed them. But like, there's a really cool community out there of people that just keep collecting them and all that stuff.
That's so cool. I didn't know. I could have gone my whole life and not known that there was like G.I. Joe. I knew G.I. Joe figures were like a huge driving force behind the show. A lot of shows come out and they make the show to get kids interested in their products. And I didn't know there were that many characters, and I didn't know there was such a community still out there for it.
That's what the show was. Obviously, it was built to drive the sales of the toy. There was historically there was never
Is that Lifeline's costume?
Yeah, that's Lifeline in his full battle outfit.
All right, nice.
They're never. This is actually a really cool scene of him and his dad saying, "We need to accept our differences and just get on with it."
Aww.
There was never a larger push of action figure toys ever in the history of toydom. Financially, and in numbers of different play sets and stuff than the G.I. Joe push from like 82 to like.
And
did
it always do well, or was it because I thought they did low run
in the 80s? Yes,
I thought they had a low run at least
in the 90s. In the 90s, it died out,
Okay.
and there's theories as to why. For me, one of the theories is as we started actually the Gulf War, which was what
92, 94.
That's kind of when things started dying out for G.I. Joe because we actually had soldiers in danger.
Yeah.
During the 80s, we didn't have really soldiers.
Yeah, the
in
Cold
fighting.
War.
Yeah, Vietnam was over. Cold War was okay, so it was okay to kind of fetishize soldiers.
Yeah.
But once we actually started, you actually started having family members going into combat. I think it's one of the reasons why it's having a hard time getting restarted in this age of nostalgia for everything.
Yeah.
G.I. Joe still is kind of a niche because there are real soldiers in peril. I don't think that's purposely people saying I don't want to. I think it's more of a subconscious desire. Like there's, they say like some things hit at the right time. Star Wars, there was a market for space at the time, and it hit right when it needed to be. That's what G.I. Joe was. It hit right when it needed to be. Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, I love that theory. I'd never heard that before, but it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, a more emotional theory. And then you could look at the choices they made as far as in the 90s, they got a little more sci-fi with it. They went super ninjas with it, and things like that. But I think that had less to do with it than the other.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's cool that, they're using lasers instead of bullets. It's like just to, make it a little bit less realistic, a little bit more kid-friendly.
A lot of that is for standards.
Yeah.
For standards. standards for the show because they couldn't really show real bullets. Well, one, it's hard to animate bullets.
Yeah.
So it's much easier to
And
animate
lasers.
lasers.
It's much more colorful.
It's much more colorful
visually
stuff.
more interesting.
But also, and they in the second season they introduced those robots, those bats.
Yeah.
So they could finally show an enemy getting destroyed.
Nice. And he jumps on him with his skis.
Oh yeah.
That was.
So they could show real consequences to the action, which they couldn't when they were just humans fighting humans.
That's cool.
I will not drown.
What we're seeing here on the show is the Joes are all fighting these.
Apparently somebody's going to drown, but he's like,
high
I'm not going to do it.
emotions.
Oh, good shot.
That was an awesome shot.
Just one and done. Bam.
That was so
on
great.
the ice cube. That's why it's winter, so the ice can drop.
Yeah, it's a great move.
That's why it's winter right there. Just drop some ice on him.
Also, I always get nervous when I see people driving on a motorcycle in snow.
Yeah, I know. It's
whether it's real life or cartoon. This week's Riverdale had Jughead driving on a snow in a motorcycle, and I was thinking, it's a little dangerous, Jug.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
What are you doing, Jug?
Yeah, what are you doing, Jug?
You don't need to be on that motorcycle in the snow. It's
So
not a
they're
good look.
those little bug
did they just
implants.
pop?
They're all shorting out. Yeah, because Serpentor did too much because it wasn't. And this is the hubris of Cobra. Because it works, and then one of them gets impatient, or one of them says, "You need to do it more. You need to do it harder," and then it ultimately fizzles, and whatever. So Roadblock's going to break out in jail, and everyone's going to go free.
We've got a wedding to attend.
And they got a wedding to attend.
Let's go. Lifeline's sister.
So good.
Is the dad marrying them?
Yes.
That's so cute.
No man put asunder.
Look
at the hand
I
placement.
think this is the only wedding on G.I. Joe that
Really?
I can remember. Yeah.
That's a Force 10 kiss.
You know?
It's
That was a
Force 10 kiss.
Wait, what does that even mean?
I don't know, but it sounds terrible.
Yeah, I know, right? That's a wedding kiss, and
Boy,
he's saying,
I guess.
He really
Let's
forced
not
that kiss on
forget, we got our strong emotions too. You know what I mean?
"Yeah, man, you may now kiss the bride." It's kind of
I
forced.
have to point this out.
G.I. Joe will return
But
after
Shipwreck
these
just
messages.
put his arm around Lifeline and said, like, there's some other strong emotions. You know what I mean? I feel like that was, just saying,
But
it was kind of a gay come on.
Oh, as the sailor one.
Yeah, a little bit. It's that ending really, and I know they didn't mean that.
Are you
But
sure? Maybe they might have meant it.
Not with those guys.
I don't know.
No, I mean this show's really forward and it's cool, and we love.
But
we
maybe
love everything on the show. Like I'm a fan of everyone's choices. That seemed a little awkward. It was just a real awkward way to end that episode. I need to say that. So Omar, that's your first episode of G.I. Joe.
That was awesome.
What did you think?
I thought it was too short. I want more.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What'd you think of the animation style?
I love it. I mean, that's the style I grew up with. Batman the Animated Series, like all that. I really loved it. I produced a short myself with animation, and it's the same style. So it's what I dig. It's exactly what I like.
That's so cool.
I kind of want to go and just watch more episodes of G.I. Joe.
Well, we're gonna make that happen for you. I'm definitely. I'll hook you up.
You've
I will
made me a
send you.
fan.
I'll Dropbox you a few links.
Yes.
And so now the question to you is: so if you could be a member of the Joe or Cobra team, good guy or bad guy, what would your name be, or what would your specialty be, and then what would your name be?
All right. So this is dark.
Okay, so are you Cobra?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'd be Cobra. I think I'd get a little bit impatient with this too, but I think I would be the collector.
Okay.
I have my comic book collection just like yours.
Yeah.
It's massive, and I think I would go around collecting things, or I mean it's a kids show, so I have to be a little bit more.
No. You can be as dark as you want.
I'd collect body parts from different
Body parts from different members of the Joe team.
Oh yeah. If not, I'd get their sunglasses or something every time Cobra screwed it up. But
I like that. So I like that you have in the Cobra Terradrome, in the Cobra base, you have a trophy room.
Oh yeah.
Of all the things you've collected off of Joe's from the battlefield.
Yeah, and it's stuff that's probably the room is probably empty because we're Cobra. But
No. They occasionally.
You get a body part or two?
You know what? Well, no, body parts is pretty dark. There's not a lot of amputee Joes running around, but I love the idea. One of the things with this episode and the previous one, which was called Nightmare Assault, that dealt with Cobra invading the Joe's dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Cobra in this second season, they're making a push of success. They're really having some success. They were pretty successful.
They were there. They had it.
They were pretty successful.
That was a fumble on the.
Exactly. I love where this season ramps up because it shows that Cobra's got one up on the Joe team.
Yeah.
It really does. The collector, and you collect body parts, and so you probably have like You have Lifeline's green glasses somewhere sitting there that he lost on a battlefield.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You have Shipwreck's hat.
I got Shipwreck's hat for sure, and his little blue shirt. Its blue shirt is there too. It's probably ripped to shreds because we have to get it somehow.
Yeah, because he's not going to sink. He's not going to sink.
Yeah.
He's
Maybe
not
just a
gonna
sleeve
drown.
and one of the arms. Inside
Yeah. You have a Snake Eyes visor somewhere.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Totally.
And then some of his ninja stuff too, like ninja stars.
A few ninja stars. Yeah.
Something.
Really,
just picking them up after the
I
battle.
really like that. I really like it. You're the collector. That's so dark and so fantastic. Omar, thank you so much for being on the show.
Dude, thank you
today.
so much for having me on the show. It's been a blast.
This has been a whole lot of fun. Remember, everybody, go to Awesome Comics, OSSMcomics.com. Find Omar on Twitter at Xenoglyphs, that's with an X, and Instagram at Spahi. And check me out at Joe on Joe Pod. And remember, now you're Joe, and Joeing is half the battle.